favorite feud from you was against Homicide. It was a very long feud. You feuded with Dusty Rhodes. You've got years across continents, all over the place, all over the map. Looking back on your career, 18 years, like you said, what are your top feuds? And you may not be able to pick one, but what are the feuds you think of when somebody says, what is your most memorable moments in the wrestling business?
Oh, yeah. Like, you know what? I've been so fortunate to wrestle some of the greatest stars of, like, not just today, but yesteryear. You know, if it wasn't for the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, a lot of people wouldn't have cared about Corino. You know, at the time I was feuding with Taz and Tommy Dreamer in ECW, and I was talking about old school and anti-hardcore, but you know, I was getting that reaction from the fans, but I wasn't getting it enough until Dusty came, because he was a true old school wrestler, and you know that really put me on the map. You know, you look at the MLW feud with Terry Funk. You know, Terry Funk at 60 years old is throwing those haymakers and punching me in the eye every night. That was great. And then the feud with Homicide was epic, because the real life feud between us was very Sean Brett. You know, Homicide, you know, where we should have gotten along, we just couldn't. There was something, and you know, even now we're not even on good terms. And it's not that I don't respect him. You know, I respect the hell out of his ability. You know, I was very happy for him when he went to TNA and had the success with Hernandez, and I'm glad to have him back in Ring of Honor. But personality, we are just oil and water, and it's crazy. And I think that came out in our feud a lot, because you know, people forget that, like, he took out my ear 9 years ago. I can't hear out of my left ear. You know, there was a time when, and he still blames me, but you go back on the videotape, he overshot me on a dive and blames me for his shoulder. You know, so there is always going to be that animosity, and I think fans realized it. And, you know, so that made that feud good. You know, in Japan, feuding with, you know, Shinya Hashimoto, who is not only like my boss but one of my best friends. But when we got in there, it was a battle every night. He'd kick me in the face. You know, I would slap him in the neck. You know, these were matches that, like, I remember, like, so vividly and had fun with. But you know, you look at my independent career. I've gone to different organizations, different areas, and feuded with different guys that, you know, people might not remember, or they might not know unless you live in that area. You go to Winnipeg, and there's Robbie Royce that I had a great feud with. You go to Milwaukee, and I got a great feud with Matt Winchester. You know, you think about North Carolina, there's Rick Converse right there. There was a lot of guys that aren't on the big radar screen of independent wrestling fans, but I was having great matches and great drawing feuds with them, and you know, they are just as important as a Homicide or a Terry Funk or a Dusty Rhodes or a Tommy Dreamer. So you know, I've been super fortunate to be in the ring with some of the best wrestlers ever.
Mike Chiari?
Yeah, Steve, you've obviously had a really fulfilling career to this point. But back in 2001, you had a bit of bad luck. WCW was bought out before you could make your debut with the company, and I know that WCW was in a bit of disarray at that point, but as somebody who kind of always wonders what if with certain things in wrestling, I was just wondering if you had any inkling of how WCW was maybe planning on utilizing you, and if not, if there was anything you would have liked to have done in terms of a character, a feud, or anything like that.
Well, see, what I was told was I was going to interfere in and if I can remember this right, I was going to interfere when it was Dusty and Dustin versus Flair and Jarrett. I was going to hop the rail, and I was going to beat up Dusty. And then that was going to start a little bit of the Dustin and me feuding a little bit. But it was going to end up turning where Dustin was going to turn against his father, and we were going to be a team. But for a while, I was going to be with Jarrett and Flair in it. But, oh, my goodness, in 2001, you know, I still like those guys. So, you know, it would have been like a great honor for me. And that was just one of the scenarios. I also thought, like, man, I might make my debut and then sit at home for 2 years. At that point, I was, you know, ECW was going down. I was a little distraught because, you know, the money situation. And I was more worried about, hey, I would love to sign with WCW just for the guaranteed contract, instead of trying to think creatively how I can become a better wrestler and help the company. So, you know, that's when I decided never to put money first when it comes to wrestling. You know, I've been fortunate enough for 15 of the 18 years that I've been wrestling, 13 of the 18 years I've been wrestling, this has been a full-time job for me. I've never needed another job. Anytime that I've ever wanted to do something else, it's always been extra, where, independent wrestlers, when they first start off with, they're making $20, $30, $40 a night, sometimes nothing. And, the joke would be, hey, I got to work my regular job to support my wrestling habit, where the other, now with me, it's like, I got to work my wrestling job to support my part-time job habit. And I've been very fortunate with that. So, to me, at the end of my career, whether it be tomorrow, whether, 6 years from now, whether it be, whenever, I want to look back at the things that I've done. Nick Dinsmore, Eugene told me once that there's guys that make millions of dollars, and then there's guys that got tons of memories. I'm the guy that's got tons of memories, and that's what I want. I can make money somewhere, whether it be a real job or, selling knives door to door or, doing something. But for me, if I can make a living and pay my bills out of wrestling and be creative and, feel good about what I do every week, that to me is success. Success is measured by the person, not by what they've done. I've gotten to see so many countries, continents. I've been to England 17 times. I've been to Australia 7 times. I've been to Japan 79 times. I've got to go back to Winnipeg, the city I was born in, and perform. My sister, who wrestles as Alice in Danger, we were a team in a mixed tag team match in Japan once, and we thought to ourselves outside the arena, we're like, wow, 2 nerdy kids that lived in Trapp, Pennsylvania most of our lives. Here we are, in frickin' Shinjuku, Japan. I've gotten to see Finland, Sweden, France, Germany plenty of times. For me, this has been the coolest ride ever.
Brandon Gavin?
Yeah, Steve, personally, as great as you are in the ring, I've always been a huge fan of your ability and confidence on the microphone. And I personally, when you're done wrestling in the ring, would like to see you as a full-time commentator. Is that something that you've been thinking about or would like to do in the future once you hang up the tights?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's what I would like to do. When I finally made the turn to go back with Kevin, and they put me back on the DVDs for ROH, and sometimes on the ROH television show where I'm commentating Kevin Steen, I feel comfortable. I feel great. I know what I want to say. Sometimes it comes off a little humorous, but to me, when I color commentate, I'm thinking of Roddy in 82 Georgia, Bobby the Brain Heenan. I'm thinking early Jerry Lawler, and Get Well King. But I'm thinking all of those things as a heel commentator, where I'm not trying to take away from the match, but I'm also trying to enhance the match a little bit by being entertaining, but also sticking to my character. And I think me and Kevin Kelly have a very good rapport. If you watch some of the DVDs on ringofhonorwrestling.com, you'll see that, like, we can play off each other. Nigel, being the lead color commentator on the TV show, he absolutely hates me. And, he'll probably never say it publicly, but I can feel it. Like, he hates me. And, I try to play off him, but, he gives me the evil eye. I know he doesn't want to, because he's a no-nonsense guy, and he's always been a no-nonsense wrestler, and a guy that I truly respect. But I would love to have a spot as a color commentator, whether it be TNA, WWE, or a full-time Ring of Honor. I'm not saying I want Nigel out, but I think, Steve Corino, after this run in Ring of Honor, it could be a very entertaining personality on a major television show as a color commentator, and I would love it. SmackDown has, Booker T?
I know. Booker T's general manager now. It's literally just Cole and some guy named Josh Matthews, who's nothing.
Okay. Well, I like Josh, but I grew up when there was a heel commentator that gave the bad guys.
The Bobby Heenan.
Right. He gave the bad guy's perception of his point of view of why a bad guy does what he does, and I think that educates the fans a little bit. I watch TNA every once in a while. Mike Tenay, who used to be amazing. When Mike Tenay started in '95 and he did the AAA pay-per-view, he's so, informative. It reminded me a lot of Gordon Solie. He would teach you about why people were doing a certain thing. And then, to me, Taz was the little badass from ECW that you were scared of in the locker room. Now he's trying to be entertaining as a babyface and stuff like that. To me, it's not entertaining. I think you need that yin and yang. You have your babyface lead commentator that's 6'2". The bad guys are always right, and then the good guys are always right, and then you have your Jesse the Body or Bobby the Brain, Roddy Piper, that's telling you, oh no, this is the way it's supposed to go. And to me, that's entertaining TV, but I don't get the right.
All right, well, listen, we'll get you on that, but tell us where you're going to be this weekend with the Death Before Dishonor, and tell us about where everybody can find out more information about you, man.
Oh, absolutely. It's plug time, baby. Saturday night, Chicago Ridge, Illinois, Death Before Dishonor 10, live on internet pay-per-view, ROHWrestling.com, in the tag team tournament. If we lose in the first round, turn the damn thing off. But, we're going all the way. Sunday, I'm going to Mexico for the first time for the IWL company, and I'm wrestling El Connect. If he seems way out of your league when it comes to names, this guy body slammed Andre the Giant. He beat Luthez. He's 60 years old. He's probably going to beat Steve Corino, too. But you know what? It's my first time in Mexico, and I'm going to love it. The match could be probably really awful, too, because, remember, Mexicans work the other side, and I heard the rings are really awful down there. Yeah, it could be botchamania, like just Steve Corino and El Connect. But I'm excited for the possibility. September 22nd, if we do win the tag team titles, I will be in Baltimore. If not, I will be hoping to jump on another show. September 23rd, and if everybody can go see it, Dreams Project, which is a concept that I came up with, and it's going to be in Birdsboro, Pennsylvania. It's a great concept. If you go to doyouliveyourdreams.com or follow us on dreams_project on Twitter, it's a great thing. It's talking about living your dreams and, being positive about life and bringing positivity to professional wrestling. I don't even know if positivity is a real word because every time I put it in the thing, it tells me it's spelled wrong. But we have a show there, and Kevin Steen versus Shane Douglas. First time ever. It's going to be crazy. And, even if it was bad, it's still going to be crazy bad.
When's that one?
That is Sunday, September 23rd. And it's at 6:30 bell time, and it'll be done by 9 o'clock. So whoever the main event is, Kevin and Shane Douglas, if it's 8:59, sorry, people, you're getting a 1-minute match. There's a curfew. I want to make sure the kids go home, and get into bed so that they can come back the next time. But it's not. I'm booking, so I got the format because. That's going to be good. You can see me on worldofcorino.com. You see me. You see my son, Colby Corino, who's been wrestling a lot. He watches too many Davey Richards videos and kicks too hard. But, we'll put him out of that. You can follow me on Twitter, @Steve Corino. I'm on Facebook. What's my fan page? I think it's Forever Heel, but that's my YouTube page, too. There's a lot of ways. Just email me, for God's sake, and I'll get you going.
Awesome. Listen, Steve Corino, awesome to have you on, man. We really appreciate it. We got to have you back on sometime.
Oh, thank you. Have me on anytime. I'm always available. If I don't win the belts this week, I could be available for a full-time spot.